think we're. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? Just had to agree to the recording. What's up, everybody? Um, Jose Ortizaro here.
Edgar Padilla. What
Heck yeah.
up?
So, yeah, man. I definitely wanted to check in and also kind of let everybody listen in on what these these topics and stuff that we've been talking about them for I don't know how long you think maybe last
A year?
months, maybe a year. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think close to a year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of horse people are always talking about like, secretly underneath they're like, what else can you do? Like maybe take a break or get some health insurance or get some steady income with no physical labor, because that's the topic for sure, is like just not doing physical labor, and earning money that way. It's to me it's foreign, but I'm really interested in like,
So let's recap what's been going on. I know we've had two episodes since we started this. What were your thoughts on Hugo?
I think he's awesome. I mean, I think he's a really good example for what the community is kind of like feeling and going through, which is not to minimize it, but like it's a lot of people, right? It's not just him, right? Not to minimize his situation, but it's not just him. And he says it as well, like he's like, it's this person and this person and this person, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But what lacks is like structure, or maybe um we talked about it on the podcast. But Hugo himself I find fascinating because he's somebody who's had so much experience. He's a wealth of knowledge. But again, how do you translate all of that?
Do you think we have to hit rock bottom as a industry to be able to like really start over and structure this, structure it all in a way where it's gonna benefit everyone, not just riders, owners, but also the grooms and farriers and everybody else that kind of falls down into what we know as the equestrian world, which is not just
Yeah.
composed of sponsors and everything. How do we rebuild this?
I I think that once the industry gets back to, and again, I say this with all respect to every single horse person that I know, um, doing their best, with what they're doing, what they got, with what they're managing, because they manage a lot, especially people who are doing it good, they're like their horses are good and healthy and calm and domados, they're like not I don't like using the word broke, but they're nice and broke. You
Hmm.
do them without a problem, clip them without a problem. They're healthy, they're not getting overfed or underfed, all of these issues. But those people are managing like a shitload of stuff, and they probably don't have a life, and also being like super nice to the client, right?
There are
So,
soldiers, yeah.
oh man, yeah, we know people like, like Hugo, and people that Hugo knows that Hugo would even include himself with us and be like, yeah, dude, like I've had my moments, but no, there's people that are like fully like blood signature on the contract of horse gods or whatever, like my sister and my dad, dude, they're just like, I'm in, and
Hmm.
like I said, I love shoeing horses, but my body, to bring it back to what we were talking about, what this episode is kind of going to be about, which is just the transferability of skills. Where can those things go? What can those things do for you? Um, because Hugo, for example, has a shitload of skills. But how do you transfer that into not physically working?
Yeah,
And
that's the question, right?
right, and it sounds kind of uh it sounds kind of like the point is to not work, but it or not work physically, but it is. For me,
Mm,
to have an income where I'm not physically working so that, I mean, let's be real. Let's be honest. I'm gonna probably shoe horses till the day I die, in the sense of like I'll have like one or two little accounts. I mean, there's just tons of like other there's just tons of those types of farriers that have a couple of accounts. They don't shoe more than that. They stay local, you know. There's just so many horses out there, guys. There's so many horses. Don't be competing over clients. Like, just let it go, move on, find somebody else that needs your help, your expertise, because it's the people with the expertise that are competing instead of focusing. So going back to your question, what do I think is with that huge intro to the answer, I guess, is like, what do I think it would benefit or help the industry right now to pivot on? It would be like, stop focusing on anyone else, any client, any other trainer, any other groom, any other farrier. Don't focus on the other people. Focus on the horse, and that's it. And if everybody just kind of shifted the focus back on the horse, I think the main problem, which is communication between all parties involved, would start to grow instead of
mm-hmm,
break down, because then it's about the horse, right? It's about like, let's figure this out together. You're a trainer, you're a groom, I'm a farrier. Like, what do you think's going on? Like, those conversations happen in the cross ties all the fucking time. If you're a good shoer, if you're a good groom, if you're smart, you're going to communicate with these people and be like, hey, what do you see? And not be offended if I say like, yeah, well, I see the feet are really dry, and
mm-hmm.
you not take it personally. You wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. But man, have I worked with some guys that, like, if I say shit like that, they go like, push.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do? And they get all uppity about it.
Yeah, well, I think the issue comes and stems from just constructive criticism that we all kind of just hold really like dear to us, and we don't want to say, "Oh, you're right." We don't want to say, "Oh, I guess I'm not doing my job as well as I could be because A, B, or C." We always have excuses as grooms, as farriers, as riders, as trainers. We always have excuses why things aren't going the way they should. And I mean, I think this goes back to like maybe us accepting that our egos are too big for the cause, and our egos are just getting in the way. And
So
I
here's
mean,
another, I just
mhm,
want to add to what you're saying. Like, they might sound like excuses from an egoistic perspective, or even from
mhm,
a victim perspective,
mhm,
or even from like a bully perspective. It's all excuses. It's all, you
yeah,
know, but I think if what I'm catching on what you're saying is, if we're really listening, all of those, because you're saying that's always there.
mhm,
But if we really listen, which is what I think you and I talk about doing, we can kind of, like Sherlock Holmes, listen to them and build that narrative that they're really in, and then they think there's some animal attacking their horse in the pasture because it keeps coming back with wounds. But then you walk the pasture because maybe they've never walked the pasture. Like, you just take the time to 15-20 minutes of walking it, and you find like that one T-post that is like bent and is like got a bunch of hair on it and blood
yeah,
from where he caught his neck and bent it, and she thinks like the chupacabra's out there. But
Well, yeah, Jose, all that is, it's like, and I'm sorry to interrupt you here.
No, no,
I
go,
think
go.
all it is, it's like we are all, at least the one, the people that we know, that we really do refer to as like equestrian people. We do see them as experts, and we kind of don't jump into that like area of their work because it's compartmentalized. As a farrier, you're holding this like square of knowledge that's very sacred to you. And as a groom, like we know our area, and as a rider or as a trainer or whatever, like, or an owner, we know that area, and it's our reality. We have to bridge the gap, where we
Yes,
all come together. We've talked about this, where we have these conversations at the barn or whatever, where we kind of say our truths, and we respect that. And it's really important though, because at the end of the day, it's we're all experts in our area. As grooms, we know what's going on. We feel as we know the solutions to all these problems. And then as farriers, you see in depth, what needs to be done and where things need to improve. So we all have a piece of the pie,
for
essentially.
sure.
So what can we do? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get there. That they're spreading positivity in these areas. Um, but again, like we're just kind of broken. We're kind of like splitting apart. And do you feel like,
Actions.
as yeah, as a whole, we're kind of, because we have this knowledge nowadays, and we have the ability to like really make an educated guess on what the problem is. Do you feel like we're pulling apart or coming together?
Yeah, I think um there's like a couple of things. It's like there's the pulling apart of, just the human aspect of it, and the just the downfalls there are of being human and working too hard, working yourself too hard, and finding that negativity. But then at the same time, that kind of same vibe will like get you stuck in doing the same thing the same way because this person did it this way, instead of it being we do it this way because it benefits the horse, right?
Mm-hmm. Common
And
goal.
right, common goal, because it's right now it's like every the factions that you're talking about, like all of these breakups are
Mm-hmm.
kind of like ideologies, like these like even in shoeing, like these people shoe this way, these people shoe this way, these people shoe this way. And it's just kind of like Darwinism, like whoever is best is gonna evolve most. And
Mm-hmm.
so then comes the internet, and basically like that's the second factor is like all of that's happening, and now we have the internet come along and basically allow people to completely be known, where there's people who should be known but have no time to film, they have no time to do the TikToks. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting, right? It's interesting how the industry is like, because I wonder, like if I got my social media all crazy good and did my content and whatever, would I pull a bunch of work from that? Probably, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like they can tell where you're from and da da da, and it's just local work. I'm not expecting to be some like, but I don't know. The internet's giving people the ability to like legitimize themselves because they can create like a history of
Mm-hmm.
information and be like, fuck you, dude. I know what I'm talking about. Here's the videos, here's the pictures. But
That's
that's not
interesting.
common. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you just brought up, because um and I think in the hunter jumper world, for example, and this is kind of what I know best, as regard to like our industry. Everyone. kind of thinks they have uh, the majority of the pie, you know, for example. Like they just
Right.
think they know. They think they know, and I think they do have a good portion of what is but every situation is different, you know. If there's no generalized solution to this, it really depends on the type of horses you have, the type, I mean, what's the goal here? The goal is like the horse, right? We're trying to get horses healthier, horses that are properly treated in every aspect of this industry, from owners to stall cleaners. You know, like how can we keep the standard, and how can we keep building to a better care for the horse? So all these questions
Oh,
come
yeah.
about. You know.
No, yeah, I love this because have you ever heard of like nonviolent communication, NLP? Or no, that's neurolinguistic programming, but kind of like neurolinguistic programming is essentially like mirroring is something from neurolinguistic programming, I think. You know, when you're listening to make somebody feel listened, you kind of repeat back what they say. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you say like, yeah, that's super interesting, and I say like, it is super interesting, that'll prompt you to like kind of tell me more or why you think it's more interesting, right? And then you're like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so purple, and I'm like, craziest purple I've ever seen. And then you'll tell, and then you'll proceed to tell. So it's this like kind of how do we get that kind of level of communicate? I think a protocol needs to be developed, maybe of how to communicate, because I know that you remember this. When I was growing up, people could educate you on horses,
Mm-hmm.
and it would like show people whether you were a crazy person or whether you were like knew what you were talking about, you know. And you see somebody walking around a horse like this, I t- I always speak up. I'm just like, oh yeah, hey, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This is just something I was taught by an old man. Like that's how I approach it. And I'm just like, give him some slack, like 3 feet
Mm-hmm.
that he can like move his head, and as long as he keeps his head in this circle, like he can keep walking forward and totally look right. Like look how long his neck is, and kind of give him a little lesson, English or Spanish, right? So it's like that little bit is I think the thing that is dying today is the respect
Yeah.
to allow that.
Yeah. We have restricted that kind of trust, you know,
Yeah,
and I think this comes from just like playing it safe. You know, we know people who have been kicked, who have been like injured by horses, and we always try to play it in the defense. Now, as we know, like with anything, playing it on the defense, not just with horses, but you know, you're showing this kind of you're bracing for something, you know. And when it comes to horses, they feel that very much so.
totally.
They're very intuitive to us when we're handling them. And this is what I'm gonna say. Like, if you are genuinely scared of what's gonna happen with horses, um,
Take a break. Yeah.
it's you have to work on yourself as a human being,
Yeah.
because part of this is you have to be confident. You have to show that confidence around horses at every level, because they sense that. If you're not a natural leader, if you're not showing dominance, and I'm not saying like you hitting them or being violent, like just natural dominance where you feel safe, and that translates into them feeling safe. You'll see
I
a
think,
whole.
yeah. I read you reminded me of a saying in a book, think like a horse or learn to think like a horse. Like I think Glenn something. But he says
Mhm.
like dominance, being the alpha isn't about that word dominance should be related to being the most confident one in the group.
Mhm.
Like if you're in a group of horses, they all think you're the alpha because you're the most confident one in the group,
That's how it translates. Yes.
right? And they see that confidence, and so everything that's spooking them that you're not spooking to
I've never heard it but better explained.
Yeah, and it's also so that's part of it, and also in a way when you become that the archetype of person in their lives, when you become a part of their group, of their herd, they also expect you to watch out for trouble, watch out for problems. So they see that also when you're hand walking a horse back to its stall from a paddock or whatever. They are really good readers, and they see you either not trying or being distracted. A lot of us sometimes like to be on our phones when we're hand walking horses. So
Oh yeah.
all of that, I mean, you have to take in consideration. They're aware of these things. It's not, they think differently, obviously, than us, and in a way they think better because they don't have those distractions. The only distractions that they have are sometimes it depends, right, on what kind of horse you're handling. You're holding a stallion, where the the tent is
Yeah,
going to
you
be
better be
at.
aware.
You got to be
Yeah.
aware, and if so vice versa. uh you really have to be in tune. When you're working around horses, you shouldn't have any distractions. Sometimes we like to stop and talk to people, and our horses are just kind of like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Hey, like, you're supposed to be
Yes.
taking you're supposed to be taking care of me while you're walking. I depend on you. I don't know what's gonna happen." So a lot of these things kind of like translate into into not being responsible. And they know, when you're someone that you're on their team. You commit.
I swear some people get on horses just to talk to other
Yeah, to be
people.
on their phones, to talk to. So I mean, that's a important. I mean, you talk to any of the top writers, and they'll tell you like, "I don't want to be bothered this time while I'm
Yeah.
writing." Yeah, I don't
This,
want to be bothered. I mean, you know that that's really important.
yeah, it's also like, I mean, I also don't watch enough horse content to like have an opinion on how much. I mean, I see quite a bit on Instagram of like Barnes posting and jumping but I don't know any of the names, because it's essentially like Formula One. There's Barnes, there's owners, there's, trainers that are like the mechanics, but like the principal, the team. But it's just barriers are like the mechanics, screams are like the mechanics too. Different maybe. But I think that it needs to be kind of professionalized, or it needs to be some systems need to be introduced of communication, like
Hmm.
how to communicate to somebody,
Right.
or yeah, and I'm sure that it fucking exists, like books on horse etiquette and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
just that,
there's a ton of it.
yeah,
I think the what we're dealing with is this commercializing of the sport, and you have a lot of people that are in the sport, and they have this I want to say um this idea that it's a business. They see it in a different way, where it's not just like this union, this like sacred relationship.
right, that
And
produces money. Like it's not
sure,
the goal to produce money. Like it's collateral. Like, wow, look
it's
at this
it's just
beautiful,
collateral.
right.
So there's a lot of work to do, obviously, and not just with us, but I think also what the sport is. If you look at it from the point of view of uh of just the civilian, right? Like your average Joe,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
sees what
yeah.
the sport is like, they are trying to expand and grow, and have it become like an important and commercialized sport, like any other the big sports here in the U.S. They are trying to do that. So
Yeah,
it's catching
it'll
it's
be
catching wind.
interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting how the internet keeps affecting those industries, because there is something to be said about like automation and AI, like
Hmm.
tracking and input of data. Big barns that have a lot of horses that, they're always running these numbers, they're always feeding, they're always medicating, they're always, you know, uh, and the medication could be like dewormer, it could be some, anti-inflammatories, it could be, some calming agent, it could be a lot of stuff. But like the barns that I know that run the best are essentially the ones that have like it all. There's somebody like dedicated to running all this stuff, like these charts and everything. It's
Yeah, they're
crazy.
dialed in. They know what's important, what's not, and
And so the
you know.
internet's making it a lot easier to do that. Like there's going to be
Hmm.
somebody that's already, like, I'm sure there's already somebody out there. Hit us up if you are like that
Hmm.
you're building an
Yeah.
app,
Hmm.
hit it, that you're building some app for barns to do this, to do that, to handle like, or a farrier app or
Hmm.
a groom app. Maybe there's something that the grooms could benefit from, of like, I don't know, so that they get paid, like something where they're so that because I know a lot of grooms get scammed. It happens. Farriers
Oh,
get
I mean,
scammed.
we can break the internet real quick with it, with just saying this, like horses are they're not supposed to be living in areas where they're not supposed to be at. So for example, like you think about California, have there ever been horses naturally found in California?
I don't know. I probably not.
No,
Yeah, it's too dry.
no, they prefer prairies and
Yeah,
grasslands, and
grasslands.
so when you move a horse to, for example, I don't know, the desert, you move them to
Mhm.
like Palm Springs or something, you're gonna have a lot of problems. You have to emulate their natural habitat. You have to.
Yeah,
You can't be introducing different types of hays and grasses and stuff like
it's
that.
just like a zoo. You don't feed the you don't
Yes.
feed the zebra.
Yeah.
See or no? ¿Verdad? Is this
Yes.
what you're saying? I
Yes, that's what
got
I'm
you.
saying.
I got you, dog. Yeah, that's so
Yeah, so
true. That is
huh?
so. That is so true.
I mean, move a human to Antarctica, see how long he'll last. Like,
But yeah, they have to recreate the atmosphere. They have to recreate the living space. Like they have to do
yes.
kitchens. They have to do
Hmm.
everything, bathrooms, toilets. They have to provide what little monkey humans need to fucking survive in Antarctica. You want a horse to survive? Like, I mean, it's amazing how not. I don't want to say how little, but how simple a horse can have it, and just like perform these horses that are getting pumped
Yes.
because of good advertising.
Oh, of course. There's no question and no mystery why horses that come from Europe are just at a different level. At a different level. Or horses
The
that come
holistic
from,
mindset,
yeah. Hmm.
that's what it is. It's the holistic mindset, uh, should be the horsemanship's mindset. But lately it's been capitalistic.
That's all it is, man. We're just trying to make it work. We're trying to make money and with the less kind of like
Yeah,
adaptation, you know?
yeah, and with the least amount spent.
Yeah, man. But we're hurting our horses in the process. We are.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So on that note,
Hmm.
um uh there's our industry's hurting, and one guy, I haven't really, let's be real, I haven't done really anything in the horse industry that to stand out in some crazy way. Like I just
Hmm.
been shoeing horses for a long time, and that's maybe the coolest part. I've done some cool stuff, some horses have gone and done some cool stuff, but I've never been like some, you know, but I put in the work and I've lived good and I've lived,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but my body's kind of hurt and they teach you how to shoe horses, but they don't teach you how to run the businesses, how to deal with the clients, how to, you know, it's all just, I mean, my, me- I had a couple of mentors really try, you know, their
Mm-hmm.
best, but nobody can prepare you for the shit that goes down,
Oh
for the
yeah.
type of, right, the personal level affectedness,
Mm-hmm.
trauma and shit, right? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, but that had, you know, that's why I wanted to just kind of shift the conversation with this point and just kind of be like, you know, there are other options, you know?
Yeah.
So, so, you know, one of the things you did because you knew you liked to drive, because in horses, you drive a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a show groom, you drive a lot. So you were like, fuck it, let me be Amazon delivery guy. What you did there was you did a transferable skill. So you took a skill and transferred it, and you actually like were able to stay above water. You kept
Yeah.
you know, you kept everything you had going, you know, and then you came back into the horses. But horse people need to be a lot gentler on each other. I will say that way. Just be kind to each other, guys. You know, we all have our friends, like Edgar and I are super good friends, and we commiserate about everything. But when somebody talks about like going out of the horse business, don't make them feel like a failure. Don't make them feel, boost them. Oh no, really? Tell me about it. What are you doing? I mean, fuck, you're all there every single day doing the same damn shit all day. Why not talk about something a little different unless something comes up that you really need to talk about? Like
Mm-hmm.
anyone who knows horses knows there's a lot of hours in the day to be chatting about stuff, especially if you know what you're doing. So now, but now knowing if you know what you're doing, you should also like I didn't know these things about the skills or what you know, how that can translate into like um because you if as a farrier you run your books, you run your you know, and also as a groom, you know, you run your calendar. You, I mean, I don't know much about what how much a groom has to run in a barn. It probably like rates and runs differently,
Yeah.
but yeah, like customer service, if you're good at if you're good at that, the point is that I know there's a lot of people that would love to be making money from their house sitting down on a computer and
Mm-hmm.
letting their body kind of recover. And if they want to go back, they go back. But no, you don't have to work yourself to death. Um, you know, there's like voiceover acting. I mean, there's so many things you can do from your computer. Voiceover acting, data entry, data analyst, man, there's so many managerial stuff, like because we know how to talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
so many managerial positions that you can work your way into from the customer service position. Because the second they see you can really help people out with your resourcefulness, and a lot of it is grit, man. There's just a lot of lazy people out here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm seeing. It's like a lot of what determines your success in these businesses is if you're willing to just be kind of tenacious for 6 hours a day and then
Yeah.
chill. It's like, bruh, you want me to sit down and be tenacious? You don't want me to go anywhere? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah, well,
so
where's your heart at? You know, if you are in what you love, if you're really trying to
well,
make your industry better, yeah.
well, my heart, I'll be honest, my heart is with me now. Like it
Mm-hmm.
used to be with the horse.
Mm-hmm.
My heart used to be very much so with the horse, and I used to do a lot for the horse.
Yes.
But I just got taken advantage of all the time. And not too long ago, again, I got stepped on because for being nice, for
Right.
having all these niceties. So there are places on the internet where that kind of attitude and that kind of person benefits actually,
Hmm.
because you put that person in as a manager of teams, somebody that needs to help people communicate with each other. I would love to do that. Like
Hmm.
that's all I dream about now because sadly that was my narrative in the horse industry, which is fine. But at the same time, uh, uh, I just want to make the point to the horse industry, like you can go out, better yourself, or maybe, but keep yourself secure. That's where my heart is. My heart is with just being secure and being able to grow old and not have this fear in my heart that I'm going to be like shoeing horses or cleaning stalls or working on some ranch fixing barns till I'm 60. Like I
Hmm.
want to know what it's like to retire. I want to know what it's like to go do all these things. And the cyber thing, the whole tech thing, there's tons of stuff where you don't even need the experience or schooling. They're willing to school you. You just have to kind of tidy up your life, like get a resume, get your taxes in order, you have the free time and the technology to interact with all these people.
Yeah.
So like check, 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 check. So I think that my heart is in the fact of like, if I can stabilize my life with some steady work from home,
Hmm.
maybe I'll be able to help my horse industry because I'll be okay,
Hmm. Right.
you know? And yeah, man. Like there was this one job, AI prompter,
Hmm.
it's just people that sit there and like try to come up with better ways to tell the AI to do whatever,
Right.
like $45 an hour.
I mean, of course, right? There's so much money in AI. I mean, if you really want to build, if you're young and you want to get in a good industry, I mean, AI
Hope
is the
I'm
way to
still
go.
young.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. What I'm saying is, if you're capable, if you have the drive
No,
and
yeah.
you have the patience to try different things. There is a place for a lot of young people and people that are wanting to change careers into AI or into some sort of tech situation. There is a lot, and I think where our industry is also heading towards is a lot of that, because we all want automation. We kind of want to just like go on an app, choose a situation and an outcome, right? A situation and an outcome. Like if you're someone that's into horses, but you don't know shit about horses, you want to be able to go on an app that says, whatever, um, and you click on it. You choose where you're at, what you want, and it can direct you to the right kind of people, the right type of program, so you can start your dream. So that's what the world wants. And I
Yes.
think for a lot of us who are kind of like now in a place where we want to integrate our knowledge into that, there's a lot of opportunity. So I think I think there is that ability now with the internet and with AI and all these apps to do so.
Yeah. I just had an interview with a coder friend of mine,
Hmm.
and basically, because we set it up professional so that he could kind of like, he's like, I want to be in the right mindset. If you're looking for a new job or something, I really want to, give it to you straight. And it was really cool. He really came through, and so, he builds websites. He builds um right now he's working for our company, and
Hmm.
basically he's coding uh you know when the windows go up, it's gonna like go up and like stop a little bit and then like go down. I mean, he's really explaining it to me because I don't really know what anything is going on. And I think that's the biggest problem, right? The biggest
Mm-hmm.
problem is that horse people, I mean, fuck, I'll admit it, I don't know or understand a lot of tech or a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the terms and stuff that is going on. But I'm learning, like
Mm-hmm.
like anybody would
Yeah.
trying to do anything new. Um, and so we talked about, my likes and this, and I talked about CAD programming, and I talked about because I like that thing with 3D printer stuff that I've done. I actually have a few things going. It's like these
Yeah.
cool little like uh cable spools for charging cables to like keep it
Oh,
all
nice.
nice and neat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then I asked him straight up, I was like, if you were me, what would you do? And he was like, I would jump into AI full force.
Wow.
And I was, yeah. And then I followed up with like, okay, what does full force look like? He was like, if you can get a job that'll keep you afloat for the next 6 months, and then for the next 6 months, like if you could first get a job with AI stuff at basic level and just go from there, and then in those 6 months, that's best case scenario. And in those 6 months, dedicate yourself to becoming super efficient with this technology, like computers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's weird to sound like that, but it's like the typing, just the commands, all of it, like just knowing your tools, and you spend the next 6 months doing that. By the end of that 6 months, he's like, you will have set yourself up to just go from job to job to job to job to job and make more money, more money, more money, more money, more money, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how it is in the tech world. The more your update, like if you do something super cool at like your basic level, like let's say I'm in month 2 and I'm doing my thing and I come up with some sick question or something like that, like
Innovation.
an innovation. If I'm not under an NDA, which I probably won't be because most of this is open source now, you post it on LinkedIn. A lot of people do this. They post it. See, the horse world needs to catch on to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
They'll post it on LinkedIn, and some other company will see what I did, and they'll make me an offer on LinkedIn for another job with more money. And I guess in the tech industry, as long as you're staying with the companies for at least a year, and you're growing like that, within 3 to 4 years, you could be making some insane amount of money by putting your mind at work, and that's all I really want to like make clear, that the horse world, um, yeah, could just really benefit from all this technology and horse people bugging with it, like horse people getting into it, because horse
Yeah,
people are
man.
so fucking stuck.
Yeah, no, we like antiquity, It's like we want to stay in that kind of like world of like this is how we've done it forever, so this is the way that we're gonna continue doing it.
Yeah. Look, yeah, dude. Cool. Well, I
Well, cool, man.
think if we're done, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was a good podcast. Once again, where can they find you online and what are
Oh,
your
Herbert Forge or Jose Ortizaro on Facebook. Um, Hit me up. I'm just trying to, you know, make it out here in the horses, man. Oh, not even in just in the world, just like
Mhm.
have fucking some security. Horse people will very, very much so relate to not being secure, man. A lot
Yeah,
of
man.
work. So
So cool. You can find me on EFP0290 on Instagram and PSIOTIO on TikTok. And this is our YouTube page. Obviously, you guys know this is El Eje EJ podcast
yeah,
signing
bro.
off. Thank you for doing this. We'll continue bringing in more guests. And yeah, man.
Oh
Thank
yeah.
you. Peace out.
Cheers. Peace.